Hey, what's up guys, Loki here, back at it again with another YouTube video. Today is Aventurine worth pulling without his 5-star light cone? Should you go for E0 S1, right? We have a video here from EO. I'm just gonna chime in. I've tested Aventurine a lot in the beta and then obviously in game, like most of you have. I'll just chime in when I can, but yeah, let's just get right into the video.
Defense or 100 of Aventurine's defense that exceeds a certain value increases his own crit rate up to a maximum limit. This is huge. As someone looking for Aventurine, this is huge.
This makes him significantly easier to build, just because you don't have to focus on crit rate, right? Like when we tested him in story, I don't remember how much exactly, but he was getting a crap ton of crit rate. Remember when we were testing him? If you ever looked at his stats, he was getting a crap ton of crit rate. It's from this trace. That's from this trace, and it was a very big number. So it was a pretty decent build, which is interesting coming from like Genshin and HSR. Most of the time they give you trial characters. They're normally built very like oddly.
I talked about this earlier in a couple different videos, but I'll reference it here. The thing that will make Aventurine one of, if not the best sustain in the game, is the fact that he does everything. And what we consider the best sustain, Win, is because she does things that a sustain should not only do, right? Not only does she boost your damage and crit value, she also sustains the team, she mitigates damage, and she can entangle enemies, which a lot of people don't really look into that fact, but being able to entangle your enemies all across the board, right? At full
she can also heal, which is it's not the biggest heal ever. However, you're taking very little damage throughout the fight anyway, so because of that, her heal actually has value.
AoE entanglement can help you significantly in certain battles, certain instances. Yeah, so she does her own form of damage. Is just not a lot. We take this over to Aventurine now. Yeah, having the trace leverage is nutty. For every 100 of Aventurine's defense, he increases his own crit rate up to a maximum value. If this is really low, like 15%, to be fair, this won't really matter. If this is something bonkers, like 40+%, this will completely change how you should build Aventurine. This will make Aventurine a tank and not like a Starrail version of a tank or definition of a tank. I mean a literal the MMO version of a tank is someone who takes all the hits and then punches you in your face, right? This is what Aventurine becomes. We might
basically what I think EO's hinting at, as he can't like clearly say obviously, because I'm sure he's tested the character in the test server, but with this being a thing, it means you could build a crit damage body on Aventurine. There is an alternative route you could go. You could build, you could go full defense as well. You could just go full defense on every piece, give this man 5-6k defense, and then your shields are going to be gigantic, right? You're still going to get crit rate from that, up to a certain limit, obviously, but I see no reason not to take advantage of this unless the fight's just the hardest thing in the world. Maybe you can have some pieces where you just swap loadouts, right? Some a super defensive build Aventurine, and then like your hybrid offensive / defensive Aventurine.
Actually have our first true tank in the game. The definition of a true tank, we might have him in the game. Let's continue. Hot Hand. When battle starts, grants all allies a fortified wager shield, whose shield is equal to a certain percentage of the one provided by the skill, lasting for a certain number of turns. That's great. This is technique. Okay, this applies to the technique. Whatever. Cool. After an ally with fortified wager launches a follow-up attack, pay attention. Aventurine accumulates 1 blind bet point. These are the points that you see when you're playing the game through the story mode.
So yeah, he has those 7 out of 7 points, as we saw in the story mode. And he accumulates 1 blind bet point for every follow-up attack. But note, it says after an ally with his shield, this is what fortified wager means. It's the name of his shield. After an ally with his shield on launches a follow-up attack. So you have to make sure to refresh which normally you would think he's skill point positive, but he's probably more geared towards skill point neutral, slash like slightly negative, just because you have to make sure that unless you're running a follow-up attack team, if you're running a follow-up attack team, then he's skill point positive 100%. But yeah, imagine Topaz, Ratio, maybe Ron May, or even like Robin in that slot, and Aventurine, right? Ratio's alts on them. Numby's gonna go. That's gonna cause Ratio to go. That's gonna cause Aventurine to go. That's gonna cause Numby to go. That's gonna cause Dr. Ratio to go because the alt was on them. It's just like it's this endless loop that is super fun. In my opinion, it's like one of the most fun teams in the game.
These are what accumulate at the beginning or during his turn. This effect can trigger up to a certain number of times. Its trigger count resets at the start of Aventurine's turn. This is gonna make or break. Listen, this is gonna make or break. I won't say fast Aventurine. We'll say moderate speed Aventurine.
This effect can trigger up to a certain number of times. That I believe it's 3 times. Because if it wasn't 3 times, then that follow-up attack team I just mentioned would essentially be like infinite. Well, it would break Numby. It would break Numby to where Numby's going like 6 times in a cycle, like 7 times in a cycle, you know? And then that would be insane. But either way, the FUA team's still going to be insane.
Man. The 134. This is gonna make or break whether or not you run 134 and that becomes very standard, or no speed. Yeah, this is what happens after Aventurine launches his talent's follow-up attack. Provides all allies with a fortified wager that can block a certain amount of damage. Obviously that's a shield, and additionally grants a fortified wager that can block a certain amount of damage to the ally with the lowest shield effect, lasting for a certain number of turns. Y'all know how I like follow-up teams. This is by far you have the perfect infinite shielder. You have the perfect infinite shielder. Just looking at these alone, these 3 traces alone, you have the potential to have the best sustain in the game, which means you never die. You have, he's doing his own damage, and it looks like, you know, right, his kit might be based off defense like other characters. And then you have the fact that he also dishes out follow-up attacks. Chat is saying IPC emergency. Caliber. Hold on. This goes in the video. This goes in, as long as I don't get copyrighted, this goes in the video. Caliber, I know what you just did. Someone sub up. Someone give him a sub right now. Listen. IPC emergency. Boom. That's OD.
Bro, I'm stealing that. I'm making that the title of this, not the title of this video, but I'm making that the thumbnail. That is gold. We will forever call that team IPC emergency 100%.
That's fucking OD, bro. No, dude. No. Run that back. Max volume. Run that back. Come on, bro. I'm dying.
It's dying.
Goddamn. Bro, you got me. Give him a sub right now. Bro. No, that's perfect. The name of the team is officially IPC emergency. All right? Sock Caliber, coin it. Put that in the books. Put that in the fucking books. IPC emergency, done. Copyright the team name. Done. That's it. That's the one. Number 3 best team in the game. I promise you. All right? Now hear me out. What this does for him, and we'll run it through, right? Just for a brief moment, we'll run it through. At a base level, you have Topaz, which is the follow-up attacking character that you need. She's the follow-up attacking captain. When follow-up attacks happen, Topaz gets to throw Numby out like Pikachu is thrown out by Ash, right? Pikachu, I choose you. Use Thunderbolt now. Numby, I choose you. Use Spin Ball now. Okay, that's what happens. Every 2 follow-ups, Numby's gonna go. Anything Topaz does counts as a follow-up attack. When Topaz goes, that's 1 follow-up attack. Okay, that's how that works. What I was saying, right?
Yeah, anything in her kit counts as a follow-up. Her basic attack, follow-up, right? So that's gonna go towards Aventurine's stacks, which do you max out at a certain they do have a limit until it becomes his turn, and then they reset.
To go over this, Topaz, Numby, follow-up attack. And then you have Ratio on the team. Ratio triggers his follow-up attack, which will that guarantees your 2. Okay, so now Numby goes at least 1 extra time. Numby is automatically going to go 1 time or 2 times, whatever, depending on your speed of Topaz per cycle. Then you have Numby and Ratio, or Topaz and Ratio, that gives you the 2 that you need to make Numby go once. Boom. Now you have a character, a sustained character with follow-up attacks that also works off of other people's follow-up attacks. And he gains, what does it say? For every follow-up attack that happens, he gains 1 coin. And this works on a certain amount of times, which then re-triggers based on his turn, which means at minimum, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4. If in the event this only triggered like a couple different times, right? Let's just cap it out at 3. You're getting 3 follow-up attacks, which gives you 3 coins, not including when somebody hits you, which go into his blind bet, which we've seen in the game. The game tells you it's like, what, 7 or some shit like that when you play it in the story mode? 7. So now I need 7. Every 7, I get a follow-up attack. If Topaz and Numby, or Topaz and Ratio, are giving you the 1, right? And then he does his own follow-up attack, and then that gives you another 1. And then you have this follow-up attack happening. That's 2. You have 2 guaranteed Numbies, extra Numbies, mind you. 2 extra Numbies coming into the cycle now, on top of Topaz, or rather Numby, already having his own number, like own 1. This is now 3 confirmed Numbies in 1 cycle. 3 confirmed Numbies in 1 cycle. People think Topaz has ass damage. You just play the character bad. That's all it is. This.
You spitting right now, bro. I had someone argue with me in a friend's chat that Ting Yun was a better support for Ratio instead of Topaz. Dude, people will run Ratio and not have enough to reach the 100% to guarantee the follow-up attack, and I'm just like, bro, you're getting Topaz's debuff. She breaks the enemy, or she can burn the enemy as well. That's another debuff. Like, what are you doing? Plus, she's giving him 50% if it's crowned, 50% extra follow-up attack damage. People don't understand, like, this team, I agree with EO, this being the number 3, probably the number 3 best team in the game. In my opinion, this is the most fun team in the game. It's so fun just watching the follow-up synergy. It's amazing. I'm hoping after we get Luocha and Aventurine, right? We got to get Topaz a rerun. Because I would hate to pull for Aventurine, win my 50-50, and then lose the 50-50 on Topaz. So I'm hoping they announce this soon. So I'm getting close to pity again. We ended up getting Acheron. I mean, I guess you guys know from one of my previous videos, but we did end up getting Acheron. And then we're at like 60 or 70 pity right now or something. And I've just been pulling on the banner because if I do get Acheron E1, it's not to lose. But yeah.
Is very good. This
it's not a lose.
Fucking good. Technique, I don't have to go over that too much. Basic attack is fine. I'm gonna go into the talents. For any single ally with fortified wager, their effect resistance increases. This is their way of keeping you from getting CC'd. Depending on how much this is, this could.
Fortified wager, again, it's just his shield. Don't overcomplicate it. For any ally with his shield, their effect res increases. We saw it was 50%, which is insane. 50%, it means you are going to be affected very, very little by crowd control debuffs. I can't talk too much on it because I am beta testing right now 2.2, but when EO says the meta is shifting, pay close attention to that. Meta is definitely shifting, and I know Gotchasmack released a video saying if you should pull for like Aventurine or whatever, something along those lines. Bro, some of this, all I'm gonna say is some of this content in 2.2, I swear if I didn't have Aventurine, I would be like, I would just be so lost. Like, so some of these enemies are so messed up, it's insane. Like 2.2 is going to be a big game changer. Not this next MOC, not the next one, because if you watch Braxophone's last video, where he tested Aventurine, that's the next MOC that's coming out. In case you guys didn't know, that's the next one. The one with Cocolia, that's the next one. The one after that, things get kind of spooky. Hopefully, like, some of these enemies might be overtuned. So, but I don't know. We will see what happens when everything comes out.
Could make or break some things really good. When they get attacked, they gain blind bet. So every time they get attacked, they gain blind bet. Now something that I want to point out. All right. If you guys have played through the story and you notice with Aventurine, right? You know the fish bomb or any AoE for that matter, every single person that gets hit counts as a point. So if you get hit by everybody, that's 4 stacks. If there are 2 fish on the field,
and then Aventurine takes 2, so it's actually 5 stacks. But I think he corrects himself in a bit here.
This effect can trigger again after a certain number of turns. Himself. The only thing that would make him better is adding taunt value. If he could add taunt value into his kit, oh, this would be so perfect. He would quite literally be the perfect sustain. He'd be the best sustain in the game. No debate. Reaches a certain number of blind points. He's gonna launch a follow-up attack. Yeah, we talked about that. Skill. Provides all allies with a shield, lasting for a certain number of turns. When the fortified wager is gained repeatedly, the shield effect can stack up. Ooh! This is perfect. What does this mean? This means this isn't like Japard's shield, where when he does ult, it replaces or replenishes that amount. This stacks. So let's just say that you are on the last turn of shield and someone has like 10% shield left, right? And then you do Aventurine skill. 10% plus whatever he was going to give you. So if his skill would give you 75% on top of the 10%, the way this reads is 85%. You now have 8, so you can get 100% shield. This is dumb.
Yeah, I mean, this character can fit well on a lot of teams, right? A lot of different teams. But a team, why is the Woche here? What? Anyways, these two with Aventurine, insane, right? You're gonna constantly follow up attack. You're gonna constantly stack this shield, right? And then you have like Cornerstone Deluxe provides all allies with a shield lasting a certain number of turns. When it's gained repeatedly, the shield can stack up to a certain limit. It just says it can stack. That's all Cornerstone Deluxe is. It just allows that trace, just allows it to stack.
This is Aventurine's dumb. He's dumb. Best sustain in the game. Let's go to the light cone. Now, Inherently Unjust Destiny. Please change this name because this is a long ass name. Increases the wearer's defense by 40%. That's big.
So a lot of people are saying like skip this light cone, and I do think he has good 5-star options or 4-star options. Also 5-star, you could run like Japard light cone on him if you do want him to get hit, which is a pretty good option as well. It's probably going to be top 5 for him. The effect hit rate's kind of whatever, but that is going to be a good light zone. If you're running Acheron with him, you could give him the if you hit me you get burned light cone, the IPC light cone. Very good light cone. This light cone, all it really does is increase his individual damage, right? And it increases his individual damage by a little bit, and also when the wearer's follow-up attack hits an enemy, it's a 100% base chance to increase the damage taken by 10%, right? So it's just extra damage, and then obviously it's giving him more defense, which is inherently giving him more crit rate. So it's a pretty good light cone, but you don't necessarily need it. Like I'm probably gonna pull for Aventurine. I think it just depends. Like I don't know when Topaz is coming. I want to save for Topaz because I don't want to, because I at least want, like, let's say I don't get Aventurine, I at least want Topaz in ratio, you know. So it's just it's spooky, man. It's kind of spooky. I don't know, man. But it's what happened last time, and like honestly, we are getting more rewards now than we were in I believe it was 1.4 when Topaz came out. So I should, if I set things up perfectly, I should still be able to get her even, like, let's say I pull Aventurine and then I just save up from there because I don't want to risk, winning the 50-50 again at like 1. I mean, I'm just having an internal dilemma, but basically, this light cone increases his individual damage.
Free stats. That's a free chess piece right there. Now you don't need the chess piece for defense. When the wearer provides a shield to an ally, the wearer's crit damage increases by 40%, lasting for 2 turns. When the wearer's follow-up attack hits an enemy target, there is a 100% base chance to increase the damage taken by the attacked enemy target by 10%, lasting for 2 turns. Earlier in the video, I said that this light cone was busted, but it was only busted for a certain thing. That certain thing is Aventurine. I talk about this all the time. I talk about it so often that I don't understand how people are still arguing with me against it. The game is moving into the direction, we are evolving into what could be considered a new meta, but I haven't used that term yet. We are moving into territory where you need to build a character for the character to do that thing, and then you're moving into team. It's no longer, hey man, slap everybody on the team, funnel it to one character, they all do it. This character at a kit level is not for anything not follow-up attacking, right? Because he loses value when you play him in a team that does not have follow-up attacks in the team. Because the key thing in his kit to get more stacks, to create infinite shields, to protect your team, to sustain your team, is a follow-up attack. There are only a couple characters that operate that way, right? So now you have a perfect sustain specifically for follow-up attacking characters, follow-up attacking teams. This is perfect.
So in regard to this point, I agree and disagree at the same time. It's weird. He's insane for follow-up attack synergies. Let's just get that out of the way. He's insane for follow-up attack synergies, right? No one's going to die. Your shields are going to constantly be replenished. He does lose value if you're not running him with a follow-up attack synergy. He's still a better shielder than Japard, in my opinion, if you are running him outside of follow-up attack synergies. He's still good to slot on the team if you just need survivability. But obviously he's going to shine more in follow-up attack teams. But it's totally okay. You can still pull for him and run him as your sustain. It's fine.
This light cone is something I'm not going to say that it is a must pull. But if you plan on maining, like if you're a follow-up attacking main team or follow-up team main, I highly suggest you find a way to get this light cone. If you can attain this light cone, significantly increases the longevity, the power, the survivability of your follow-up attacking team. Any follow-up attacking team. Doesn't matter if it's just Topaz and Ratio, doesn't matter if it's Clara. Any follow-up attacking team, this significantly improves that team. Not only does it do that, but it also increases Aventurine's damage potential, changing what could be his own crit rate increased up to 100% thanks to the talent we talked about earlier. Leverage, I believe is the name of it. And now adding, what is this? The crit damage increases by 40%, giving him a crit damage body piece, right? Increasing your defense by 40% already makes it so that you don't need a defense chest. You don't. Aventurine's gonna have a natural high-ass defense. The light cone is gonna give him a natural high-ass defense, right? 600, 40% times your base defense. You're gonna be pulling in for free, minimum 3K. Minimum 3K defense, right? Get a couple substats, get a defense boot, maybe you get a defense orb or a rope, and you're already above 4K. Crit damage body piece is 64%. This light cone gives you another 40%, that's 100%. You start off with 50%. You are now at 200% crit damage. Did I do that right? No, I didn't. You're at 150%, right? You're at 150% crit damage for free. No substats in mind. 50% extra crit damage, which is not impossible. That's like what, 3 substats? 3 or 4 substats in all 7 pieces that you have? Or 6 pieces that you have? You can reach 200%. Most DPS characters cannot reach 200% crit damage as easily as this light cone will allow Aventurine to achieve.
Yes, that's true.
His if his multiplier, like if his influence, his damage influence is based off defense and not like HP or attack or some bullshit, right? Because like Japard's basic attack, if I'm not mistaken, is based off attack. Correct me if I'm wrong. It could be defense. If Aventurine's is based on defense, done. This is quite literally the best sustain in the game. And his only drawback is going to be how many teams does he fit on in comparison to Uxuan. I won't compare to Ho-Oh because Ho-Oh is on a different level. She heals and does some other stuff. She's in a similar boat, right? Being a harmony.
Ho-Ho's in a different level. For sure. I want to talk about some of these enemies coming up in 2.2 so bad, but I can't. So, anyways, let's see. Does he have strong free-to-play options?
Playing this character.
Oh, as far as the light cone? Oh, as far as light cone. Okay, we don't even have to watch this part. As far as the light cones, so the one, if you watch the Braxophone video during the creator experience server, there's a couple light cones coming out. There's one coming out that's going to be okay on him, and there's one that's going to be really good on him, I believe. I think they're like a craftable light cone or something of that nature. Concert for 2. This is the one I was talking about.
I'm not looking for the defense.
Let me see.
Unless this is not at S5. Is this at S1? What is S5 concerts?
Let me see. Concert for 2.
60% for every on-field character that has a shield. The damage dealt by the wearer increases by 4%. So it's 16%.
So yeah, that's at S1. It's gonna be I don't know if it's actually gonna be 32% because that's what it's normally double at S5. It might be like 24 or something, or like 30, who knows, because sometimes they do actually double it at S5 and sometimes they don't. Starrail's really weird like that.
Percent damage increase. I mean, increase the damage. Completely different character. If this jump, okay, so what would this have to be to equal 48% from Destiny, right? Because we know that the Destiny light cone, right? 48%. This would have to beat that out. It would have to beat it out. S5 might be 8%. It usually doubles 8, 16, 32, 48.
It does usually double, but not always, right? So if it does double, we're looking at 32 and then 8. That's not bad. That's not going to be too bad at S5. That's all you need, really. That's all you need, especially if you're running him in a follow-up attack synergy. His shields are going to constantly stack. If you have Jeppy's light cone, you'll be fine. He has some decent free-to-play options, honestly. I don't necessarily recommend pulling his light cone unless you want his individual damage to go up. You know, if you want to see more damage out of him, then pull for his light cone. But I personally am not going to be pulling for his light cone, but it's entirely up to you. I'd rather pull for like Topaz's light cone or something, you know.
If it doubles, it's equivalent.
Just to add another debuff for ratio.
Equivalent. And then this one would be better. Yes. Then this one would be needed, but it's completely dependent on how you're going to run this character. 100%. Yeah, half the people pulling, you're going to put him on trend anyway. But I still think that having these other light cone options are significantly better than just putting him on trend, because trend doesn't increase his taunt value. Now, what would make trend really cool, to keep it a buck, what would make trend really cool would be if trend, all of the light cone options, or all the shields, if getting hit by any of the shields would trigger trend. If that shield in particular on any of your team would trigger trend, that'd be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. But
that'd be insane. I agree with that. But yeah, what do you guys think about Aventurine? Will you be pulling for him? Let me know in the comments section. I will be pulling for him myself. Hopefully we get some information on Topaz, because I don't want to miss out on Topaz, because I've been wanting to run Topaz with ratio for so long, and it's about time she gets a rerun. We've got, let's see, Luocha. We've gone through Blade rerun. We've gone through Kafka. It has to be Topaz next. We're going through Jing Liu. This is Luocha right now, right? So it's Jing Liu next, and then It has to be Topaz. It has to be. If we get like a whole rerun, I'm about to be so pissed. But hopefully it's Topaz soon. Because I don't want to have to spend money. I've gotten everything free to play so far. I've been free to play since like Blade. Since Blade. Or no, since Jingliu. Jingliu came out after Blade. So yeah, I've been free to play since Jingliu. So I don't want to have to spend to end up getting Topaz and Aventurine, but we will see. Let me know you guys' thoughts on the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.